I'm currently sitting in the back of an ambulance, watching my front door get kicked in by a specialized psychiatric response team, while my wife stands on the lawn in her silk pajamas, screaming at the top of her lungs that I tried to convince her. The walls were bleeding. The neighbors are all out on their porches, recording the whole thing on their phones. And the worst part isn't the handcuffs or the bright lights. It's the fact that I actually did it. I didn't just let our divorce turn into a fight. I turned it into a psychological war zone. And now, as I look at the smirk she's trying so hard to hide behind her fake tears, I realize I've accidentally given her the one thing she needed to ruin me for good. 3 months ago, this was supposed to be the most boring divorce in history. No kids, no property disputes, just a mutual realization that we had become strangers who shared a bed. We had a spreadsheet for our assets, a polite agreement about the dog, and a handshake that felt like a funeral. But then, I found the ledger. It was hidden in the back of her closet, inside a shoebox marked Old Taxes. It wasn't taxes. It was a meticulously detailed log of every single time I'd ever been unstable, dates from 3 years ago, times I'd been sad about my dad's death, times I'd been stressed about work, all written in her neat, perfect handwriting, categorized under evidence of narcissistic collapse. She wasn't just divorcing me. She had been building a case to have me legally declared incompetent for years. She didn't want half the assets. She wanted a conservatorship. She wanted to own my life, even after she left it. That was the moment I stopped being the stable husband. I didn't call a lawyer. Not at first. I decided that if she wanted a madman, I would give her a ghost story she'd never forget. I started small, replacing her daily vitamins with identical-looking placebos, moving her car 2 inches to the left every single night, recording her sleep talking, and playing it back to her at low volumes through the smart speakers while she brushed her teeth. I wanted her to feel the ground shifting under her feet. I wanted her to doubt her own reality, the way she was trying to make the world doubt mine. But I underestimated how far she was willing to go to win. Last night, I woke up and found her sitting at the foot of the bed, holding a kitchen knife and staring at the wall. She wasn't looking at me. She was whispering to someone who wasn't there. I thought I'd finally broken her. I thought I'd won. But as I reached for my phone to record her, she slowly turned toward me with a look of pure, lucid clarity, and she said, "You forgot about the cameras. I hid in the vents, didn't you?" The silence that followed that sentence was louder than any scream. I looked up at the vents, my heart performing a frantic, stuttering rhythm against my ribs, and I saw it, the tiny red glint of a lens, tucked behind the metal slats. She hadn't been losing her mind. She'd been performing for an audience of one, and she'd caught every single thing I'd done. "You think you're the only one who can play a long game?" she whispered, the knife still glinting in the moonlight. "I knew you found the ledger. I left it there for you to find. I knew you'd try to get even, because you're so predictable, so desperate to be the smartest person in the room." I tried to stand up, but my legs felt like they were made of water. The placebos, I managed to choke out. "The car, the speakers, all on film," she said, standing up and walking toward the door, along with the vitamins I replaced with actual sedatives tonight. "Which is why you can't feel your toes right now." The world started to tilt, the edges of my vision fraying into a dark, static-filled gray. And that's when I realized something. She hadn't just been building a case for a conservatorship. She'd been baiting me into committing a series of crimes that would justify her story. I wasn't the hunter. I was the animal that had walked into a trap I'd helped build. When I woke up, I was in the psychiatric ward, strapped to a bed, a fluorescent light buzzing above my head, like a swarm of angry bees. A doctor with a clipboard was standing nearby, looking at me with that patronizing pity that makes you want to crawl out of your own skin. "Your wife is very concerned," he said calmly. "She showed us the footage of you tampering with her medication and the audio of the voices you were playing through the house. Can you tell me why you were trying to hurt her?" I tried to explain about the ledger, about the years of her documenting my life, like some kind of research project. But as the words came out, they sounded like the ramblings of a paranoid conspiracy theorist. Every truth I spoke only confirmed his diagnosis. I was the man who had been caught gaslighting his wife, the man who had systematically dismantled her mental health for a divorce settlement. The morally gray choices I'd made to protect myself had quietly become the nails in my coffin. I spent 3 days in that ward, listening to the screams of the people around me, realizing that this straightforward divorce was no longer about money. It was a battle for my very soul. But on the 4th day, my lawyer finally managed to get in. He didn't look happy. He looked like a man about to tell me my house was on fire while I was still inside it. "She's filed for a temporary restraining order," he said, "and she's using the video footage to petition for an emergency sale of all your assets to cover her medical trauma and legal fees. But that's not the worst part." He leaned closer, dropping his voice to a whisper. "She's not who she says she is." I started looking into her background. The perfect family she told you about? They don't exist. The college she graduated from has no record of her. And the man she was married to before you? He's been in a state-run mental facility for the last 10 years, declared legally insane after a vicious divorce. A cold shiver ran down my spine. I wasn't just losing a marriage. I was being processed by a professional. And as I looked at my lawyer, I realized something terrifying. If I didn't find a way to get out of this ward, I was going to be the next name on her list of broken men. "Get me out," I said, grabbing his sleeve. "I don't care about the money. I don't care about the house. Just get me out of here before she finishes the job." He looked at the door, then back at me, and for the first time, I saw something in his eyes. Fear. "I can't get you out legally. Not yet," he said quietly. "But there's something you should know. She's coming to visit you tonight, and she's not coming to apologize." The psychiatric ward at night is a different kind of hell. The shadows stretch across the white linoleum like long, skeletal fingers, and the sound of the nurse's shoes clicking in the hall feels like a countdown. They'd moved me to a private room because of my violent tendencies, which was really just code for the fact that I'd yelled at the doctor for not listening to me. And that's when the door creaked open. She didn't look like a victim anymore. She was wearing a sharp, charcoal gray suit, her hair pulled back into a tight, unforgiving bun. She sat in the chair next to my bed and pulled out a single sheet of paper. "Sign this," she said, her voice as cold as a winter morning. "It's a voluntary admission of guilt. You agree that you suffered a mental break. You agree that the assets should be managed by a third-party trust, one that I happen to control. And in return, I'll tell the doctors that you've made remarkable progress and should be released into my care." "Into your care?" I laughed, the sound echoing hollowly against the padded walls. "So you can finish what you started, so I can end up like the guy before me, drooling in a corner, while you spend my hard-earned money." She didn't flinch. She just leaned in, her face inches from mine. "The guy before you was a drunk who hit me. You're just a man who thought he was too smart to be caught. You really think anyone is going to believe you now? The police have the footage of you tampering with my pills. The neighbors saw you being dragged out in a straitjacket. The world already thinks you're insane. I'm just asking you to make it official." I looked at the paper, at the neat little lines, waiting for my signature. Then I looked at her, and suddenly, something clicked. The only reason she was here, the only reason she needed my signature, was because she hadn't quite cleared the final legal hurdle. There was something she was afraid of, something my signature would erase. "The insurance policy," I whispered, the realization hitting me like a freight train. "My grandfather's life insurance policy, the one that only pays out if I'm living and of sound mind, or if I've designated a guardian in the event of a total breakdown. That's what this is about, isn't it?" Her eyes narrowed, just a fraction, a tiny crack in her perfect armor. "You're always so focused on the money," she spat. "It's pathetic." "No," I said, ripping the paper in half and tossing the pieces at her feet. "What's pathetic is that you spent 3 years of your life married to a man you hated just for a payout that you're never going to get, because I'm not signing anything, and I'm not going back to that house." She stood up, her face twisting into a mask of pure, unfiltered rage. "Then you'll stay here," she hissed. "You'll rot in this room until the doctors decide You're a lost cause. I have the footage. I have the records. And I have the patience to wait you out." She turned to leave, but as she reached the door, I did the one thing she didn't expect, the one thing that was truly insane. In her world, I started to sing a low, rhythmic nursery rhyme my mother used to sing to me when I was scared. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. I just sang. She stopped, her hand frozen on the doorknob, her shoulders slowly tensing. "Stop it," she said. I didn't stop. I sang louder, letting my voice fill the room, becoming the very thing she was trying to label me as. If the world wanted a madman, I would give them a performance that would make her evidence look like a joke. She slammed the door shut, and as I sat there, in the dark, singing to the empty air, I realized something. I had finally found the one thing she couldn't control. She couldn't control a man who had already lost everything, because a man who has nothing left to lose is the most dangerous thing in the world. But as the hours passed and the morning light started creeping through the small, barred window, I heard a sound in the hallway that made my blood run cold. It wasn't the nurses. It was the sound of a heavy industrial cleaner and the smell of bleach, the exact same smell I'd noticed the night I broke and started tampering with her pills. And that's when the final realization hit me. She hadn't just been recording me. She had been drugging the entire house. And the literal insanity I had been feeling wasn't just in my head. It was in my blood. The bleach smell was the key. It wasn't just a cleaning supply. It was a delivery system. She'd been using a specialized solvent in the humidifiers, something that caused mild hallucinations and chronic paranoia over long-term exposure. The voices I played through the speakers were real, but the shadows I kept seeing, those were the chemicals' handiwork. I didn't tell the doctors. I knew they wouldn't believe me. Instead, I waited until my next blood draw, and when the nurse turned her back to label the vials, I did the most morally questionable thing I've ever done. I swapped my vial with the one from the patient in the next bed, an old man who was in for a simple physical and was stone cold sober. I knew it would mess up his results. I knew it might even get him in trouble, but it was the only way to prove that my blood was contaminated, and it worked. 2 days later, the hospital was in an uproar. The lab results for my blood came back completely clean, while the old man's results showed enough toxic chemicals to kill a horse. They couldn't explain how a man locked inside a psychiatric ward had managed to ingest a high-grade industrial solvent. So they started an internal investigation, searching every room, every vent, and every visitor. That's when they found the gift she'd brought me during her midnight visit, a small, unopened bottle of water, sitting quietly on the table, the one I hadn't touched because I was too busy singing. The lab tested it, and the evidence was undeniable. It was laced with the same solvent. The victim was suddenly the primary suspect in an attempted poisoning case. The police didn't just go to our house. They went with a hazmat team. They found the humidifiers. They found the cameras. And they found the ledger, the one she thought she'd hidden for good, the one where she'd written down the exact dosage she was giving me to make sure my breakdown happened right on schedule. For the divorce hearing, I was released that afternoon, walking out into the sunlight with a heavy, dull ache in my chest. The divorce was over, but it wasn't the victory I'd imagined. She was arrested at the airport, trying to board a flight to a country with no extradition treaty, 3 different passports, and a suitcase full of my grandfather's insurance money that she had already started siphoning off. I'm sitting in my living room now. The house is quiet, too quiet. The humidifiers are gone. The cameras are locked in an evidence locker, and the smart speakers are unplugged. I should feel happy. I should feel relieved. But every time I look at a vent, I still see that red glint. Every time I smell bleach, my heart starts to race. The divorce turned insane. But it didn't just send her to prison. It sent me somewhere I don't quite know how to come back from. I look at the man in the mirror, the man who sang nursery rhymes to padded walls, the man who swapped blood vials with an innocent old man. And honestly, I don't recognize him. I won the house, I won the money, and I won my freedom. But as I sit here in the dark, listening for a voice that isn't there, I realize something. She got what she wanted. In the end, she didn't need a judge to declare me insane, because she knew that once you've seen the world through the eyes of a madman, you never fully trust the light again. According to the doctors, I'm technically sane now, but every night before I go to sleep, I still check the car to see if it's moved 2 inches to the left, and sometimes, without even noticing, I catch myself humming that nursery rhyme. So tell me something. Would you stay in this house, or would you burn it down and never look back? I'm still deciding.